Renting versus buying. What is the smart decision? Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to another Coffee with Coleman, where we love to discuss Washington, D.C., business, real estate, all that good stuff. My name is John Coleman, and I'm a real estate agent here in Washington, D.C. with the Jason Martin Group. If you could do me a quick favor, please go ahead and hit that like button. It does two things. One, it makes me feel good that I'm actually spending time making these videos, and additionally, it's telling the internet that these are actually useful, and then letting other people know that this content is going to be something that could help them as well, and I really appreciate that. All right, so my caveat at the start of this whole rent versus buy thing is that consider the source. A lot of times you're going to get input from a real estate agent, and I can say this because I'm a real estate agent, or a lender, and they're saying that buying is the best thing you can do. Well, they also make money if you buy, so of course they're going to say that. What you need to figure out is what your situation is and whether it's going to be the best long-term solution and wealth building opportunity for yourself. And here's what I think you should consider. So first, on the surface, it seems like it should be pretty easy, right? Like if my rent was $2,000 and my mortgage was $2,000, I just have to make a decision. If one's higher than the other one, I'd go with whatever one's cheaper. However, let's think about where this money goes as a starting point. When you're paying rent, it's going to your landlord. It's going to their mortgage, it's going to their pocket, but there's nothing coming back to you that helps you on a long-term basis. So you're pretty much just, I don't know, you could say throwing the money out the window, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. When you're doing your mortgage, your money's going to really two main places. First is it's going towards your principal of your loan, so you're paying down the loan amount that you have on the property. And the other piece of it is you're paying interest on the loan, which sounds like it stinks because you're paying back the bank. However, that money is tax deductible, which means it's going to help on your taxes the following year. So while they might be equal on the surface, there are some very good benefits of paying a mortgage versus paying rent. All right, so if there's more benefits to owning, then that's automatically the best option, right? Well, no. So there's three reasons why I would consider maybe buying isn't as good of an option of renting. First is the opportunity cost. You're going to use money that you have in your bank account and you're going to put that in the asset of purchasing a home. When your money's there, it's not as liquid as it currently is in your bank account, meaning if you wanted to use that money to put in the stock market, you might be able to outperform how it does in the house. So having that money tied up in one asset might not necessarily be the best if maybe you want to play with it for building a business or if you want to invest in the stock market. It's a lot less liquid at that point, and that's something that I think people don't consider when they're going on the house hunt. Second is the cost of buying a place. And I'm not talking about the down payment. We got that covered. That's still equity that's sitting just in a different hub. What you're going to do is you're going to be paying closing costs, but it's not just buying a place. You're going to spend about 3% when you're buying a place on closing costs. So that's getting the loan, that's paying a title company, that's all that stuff. There's also costs associated with selling. And if you're not factoring the fact that you're going to be spending money to both buy and sell a place, the math isn't going to quite work out right away. So knowing those costs up front is going to be very helpful in making a long-term strategy. And the third thing that I think a lot of first-time home buyers don't consider is there's going to be costs associated with owning it. So repairing a roof, a new HVAC system, if you have a leak. There are many things that can pop up in your house and your landlord's no longer taking care of it because, well, they are because you're the landlord. So you have to make sure that you're doing everything you can to keep the state of the home in good condition. And that costs money, so you want to make sure that you budget accordingly. And in renting, you don't really have to deal with that because it's someone else's problem. So I know what you're thinking. Whoa. Home ownership, maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. But hear me out. I think the truth lies between what we just talked about. Of course, there's additional costs. Of course, renting could be easier. However, also consider the flip side of that. You're going to be putting money towards principal each month. That's like a forced savings account that if you weren't doing anything with that money, that's going to be better than anything else. And assuming that you own the house for a while, the property values we've seen on average goes up with the rate of inflation, which could be about 3%. However, we know a lot of good neighborhoods in DC that have done double-digit increases year over year for consecutive years. So that's important to factor as well. If the market in your area is doing really well, real estate might be a very solid investment for you. So what's my one tip coming out of this? Well, I think the reality of whether homeownership is a good or less good idea lays with the amount of time that you're gonna own the home. The longer you own the home, the better investment I think it's gonna be for yourselves. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know exactly what's gonna happen. But if you play the law of averages and you own a home for 5 or 10 or even longer years, you're gonna give yourself a very good opportunity to do well on that investment. And you're able to take the investment, that nest egg that you got from your first home, and go into your second home. And if it's a larger one, you can get a bigger place. And then you continue the next cycle of going into the new place and building up that money. And that's where I see people do the best. And so if you're gonna take anything from it, I think the longevity of which you're gonna own the home, whether it's living in it or even renting it out, is gonna dictate whether or not it's a solid investment or not. And that's the same advice I give to any buyer the first time we ever sit down to talk through everything. So what did I miss? What kind of questions do you have about owning or renting? I have a cost calculator that I can help actually break this down for you. So if you reach out, my contact information is below. I'd be happy to run scenarios with you to figure out what might be the best option. And that's what I love to do. I love helping first-time home buyers figure it out. So please, again, hit that like button. It lets me know you're liking what you saw. And additionally, I just want to thank you again for stopping by another Coffee with Coleman. Peace.